Hi guys, so I was having a discussion with my friends very recently, a few days back, about the importance of internet in our lives. So internet we realized is so important that we cannot stay without it. We can stay without anything but internet. Cannot stay without internet even for a day or for an hour at times. सब रुक जाता है बिना internet के, right? So I'm going to tell you an incident today, which is the longest internet shutdown in the history of a democracy. Yes, not just Indian democracy, but worldwide, any democracy had not seen a longer internet shutdown than the Kashmir internet shutdown, which started in August 2019 and ended in the later part of January 2020. So for more than 5 months, there was no internet in Kashmir. So we discussed in detail in the last session the Kashmir issue that Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act was passed by the Parliament on 5th August 2019. One day before passing of this act, the Parliament suspended all the internet and telecommunication services in this area because it's apprehended that there could be certain militant or terrorist activities and there could be certain public order and law and order situation in that area. So to prevent any of this, such preventive step was taken. However, this was not restored for a long period of time, and naturally certain petitions were filed to the Supreme Court. So Anuradha Bhasin, who is the chief editor of Kashmir Times, a leading newspaper in that area, as well as Ghulam Nabi Azad, who is a senior Congress leader, as well as leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, filed petitions in the Supreme Court in this matter stating that this violates their fundamental right of speech and expression and fundamental right to conduct any trade or business activities, and internet suspension basically violates on that right. The Supreme Court, a three-judge bench of the Supreme Court, on 10th January 2020 came up with a judgment in this matter and made certain really important and noteworthy observations. The first and the most important observations is that the Supreme Court held that this internet suspension is violative because right to freedom of speech and expression and right to conduct trade or business using internet is a fundamental right. So it basically stated that access to internet is a fundamental right in the country and every citizen in the country has a right to access internet.
Now the next observation was with respect to section 144 of the CRPC, जिसको हम layman language में धारा 144 भी कहते हैं. So it states that certain people's movement and their right to assembly can be restricted in certain emergency circumstances. So the Supreme Court held that this provision is only for emergency circumstances and the government cannot use it for their whims and fancies and to curb legitimate interests of the people.
So it asked the order to restore internet services and review all the orders within a week. So there are certain rules with respect to suspension of telecom or internet services in India. So there are rules called the Temporary Suspension of Telecom Services 2017 rules. These rules state that internet or telecom services can be suspended but not indefinitely. So उतने ही time के लिए हो सकता है जितना necessary है, it cannot be indefinite. Also it states that proportional, it should be proportional. So proportionality का मतलब होता है that it should not be excessive than what is required. So the problem with these rules is that these rules are very subjective in nature. What is necessary for me may not be necessary for the government. Government may feel कि थोड़ा ज़्यादा suspension is required and they may do so. Okay, so this is not objective and that is a problematic situation. There is a major criticism of the Supreme Court's judgment also in this matter, which says that when the Supreme Court realized that most of the orders suspending internet and complete ban on internet in that area is violative of fundamental rights, then why did the Supreme Court not itself ban or basically quash all the orders? In fact, the Supreme Court asked the government to review all the orders within a week and make all the orders public so that they can be challenged again. Okay, so that was a criticism of the Supreme Court judgment. However, after this judgment on 25th January 2020, the 2G internet services was restored in this area. Only 2G internet and not 3G or 4G internet. So after the restoration of 2G services, we entered the COVID-19 pandemic and internet became more useful and more important to us than ever. Because online classes are being conducted all over the country in various schools and colleges. Our siblings, our parents are dependent on internet. They're working from home and they're solely dependent on internet. Also, the medical practitioners who are the flag bearers against COVID-19, they're infringed of their right because they cannot do and perform their services properly. So 9th April 2019, Foundation for Media Professionals, which is an organization, filed a petition in the Supreme Court which stated this not merely violates fundamental right to speech and expression or fundamental right to conduct any business. It is a fundamental right to life that is dependent on internet these days, because medical professionals are not able to perform their duties in a proper manner because of not proper internet being there, and they're not able to attend webinars because obviously internet facility is not available and it's not possible to do it on 2G internet. Students are not able to attend online classes because of not being adequate supply of internet. Now the Supreme Court asked the government to file a detailed reply in this matter. In their reply, the government stated that right to internet is not a fundamental right, it is basically an enabler to a fundamental right. So government का ये कहना था that the right to freedom of speech and expression and right to life are certain important and quintessential fundamental rights, whereas internet is basically a medium to reach to those rights. So internet can be restricted in certain circumstances. The government also brought forth certain examples as to why there is a national security issue and because of which internet has been suspended and basically 2G services is only restored. So it stated that there has been 108 terrorist activities in that area after August 5. Other than that, a Jaish-e-Mohammed commander died and more than 500 local residents attended his funeral. So these are certain situations which are dangerous to the public order situation in that area. And if 4G or 3G internet is allowed, people will start using social media all over again. And a lot of students who may be school students or college students may be incited. And in fact, the terrorists may also use this high-speed internet if restored to execute their illegitimate plans. The government also stated that more than 1 lakh medical professionals have been provided high-speed internet facilities in the state. Other than that, the WhatsApp facilities and other basic facilities can be accessed over 2G internet also. So in the interest of national security, the government has no other option but to provide only 2G facilities. The Supreme Court has a major task to balance out the national security of the state on one hand and legitimate rights and basically the fundamental rights of the people on the other hand. So the Supreme Court finally constituted a special committee to look into this matter and find out whether the suspension of internet and restoration of only 2G services is right in law or is reasonable. So this committee has not yet come up with its report. We hope that soon a report will be published and we'll come to a final conclusion in this matter. Till then, only 2G services are allowed in the Union Territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. So that's it from my side. I would like you guys to form an opinion in this matter and write in the comment box if you feel that the move of this government to make a complete ban on the internet and after that restoring only 2G services is reasonable or it's too excessive. Write in the comment box, tell me about your opinion so that we can have a better discussion after that. Also, if you like our sessions, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss any updates from us. Keep writing to us, keep supporting us. Thank you.